guys, welcome to the O.W.L.s Readathon vlog. So as you might know, because it's a pretty big event in the booktube community, O.W.L.s is a time for O.W.L.s Readathon, which is part of the magical readathon created by O.W.L.s, and it centers around the Harry Potter exams. So in April we're doing O.W.L.s, sometime in the summer we're going to be doing Newts. This readathon is amazingly complex and just, you can tell how much work went into it. So I'm gonna link the announcement video about O.W.L.s down below so you can get all the information about the different careers and all of that. I'm sure you can join even if you missed the April slot for it. At end of your school career in the magical world of Hogwarts, you want to have a career, and to achieve that career you have to pass your exams, and that's the O.W.L.s and Newts. If you read or watched Harry Potter, you probably know what I'm talking about. So for this readathon, you choose your career and then you're given prompts for the O.W.L.s, and they're gonna be prompts for Newts. So I have chosen Magizoologist, which is kind of like a zoologist but for magical creatures. So for Magizoologist, you need 4 books read. It's totally doable. So this is the reading vlog where I'm reading all these books, and these books, 2 of these are like my 5-star prediction reads. Again, I keep reading those for vlogs, and then 2 others are ones I've been really excited about and I've been hearing about loads. So actually I didn't even choose my own TBR, you guys, but you chose it for me on Twitter. I asked you what books would you recommend according to the prompts, and then you gave me lots of suggestions. I put some of those in the polls and you voted in the polls, so this is what you voted for. So again, thank you again if you're engaged with me on Twitter. It's a fun time there. Join me. It's all my links in there in the description. So let's start with Care of Magical Creatures. Hippogriffs. Read a book with a creature with a beak on the cover. For this I'm reading Crown of Feathers by Nikki Pau Preto. So I got this one on ebook because it was just $2, which is so good. I don't know too much about it, but I'm pretty sure it tells the story of a phoenix rider, which just sounds so cool. Don't worry, when we get to actual books I'm going to give you actual synopsis for the books, but this is just me guessing. Next up we have Charms with Lumos Maxima, and that is a book with a white on the cover. So I have chosen The Poppy War. Well, you have chosen The Poppy War by F. Kwang. Poppy War follows Rin, who is an orphan of war, and her only chance for a better life other than marrying a stranger is to get into the best academy in the empire. And for herbology I'm reading Mimbolus Mimbletonia, which is a title that starts with an M. I thought it was a title starting with I, so because the font was a bit strange. But yeah, it's an M. So we're reading Middle Game by Shauna Maguire, which has been well-praised book on YouTube, especially from Rachel Marie, from Rachel Marie's Book Journey, who I'm really trust, and this was her favorite book last year, I believe. And also Kayla from Books and Lala has been recommending it very dearly. I've been putting it off buying it because it's a pretty expensive book. It's like £16, but we're in a pandemic. I'm not spending money on anything except food, so I got Middle Game to make myself feel better. I think it tells a story of twins who possibly separated at birth, and both of them are kind of more than human paranormal creatures. I don't know anything else on that. I don't want to. I'll let you know when I'm actually reading it. And the last book I'm reading is for potions, which is Shrinking Solution. Read a book under 150 pages. Next time I'm reading We Should All Be Feminists by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I'm pretty sure this is a non-fiction, very short story. It's only 52 pages, but I watched her TED Talk, which is The Danger of a Single Story, and it was a really good TED Talk, and I've been seeing this book around. It was like 30p or something in the secondhand stores. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's about feminism, so we'll see how I like it. I've actually already started reading The Poppy War, so I'm on page 188. I love it so far. It's amazing. Firstly, the writing's really good. It really sucks you in and makes you engaged. Even though the chapters are quite long, which normally takes me way longer to read, I feel very engaged and very enticed to read, and I cannot put it away. The main character, Rin, is just the most amazing. She's what Selena Sardothian wished she could be. She has grit. She has determination. She's tough. She is quite talented. She's smart and all of that, but at the same time, she just works so much harder than everyone else, and she is ready to take the pain, and she's ready to take the pain and do something with it. She has to fend for herself because the school that she's at, normally only the richest kids go there, the sons warlords, and she's just an orphan, so she has to work 5 times as hard as everyone else, and she does, and she's just such an amazing character. I'm telling you, it's what Selena thinks she is, but she's not. So this is an actual proper tough, determined character. She has this ruthlessness about her and this hunger for power that is very, very interesting. I'm really interested to see more about that. I absolutely love Kitai, who's her best friend kind of character. He's just very supportive. I really hope this doesn't fall apart. He kind of reminds me of Kenji from Shatter Me series, who's like the best character in the whole series. This really kind of gives me the vibe of Empress Ki, which is a K-drama that I watched many years ago, and it's my favorite drama that I've ever watched. It's very long though. It's 52 episodes, all like an hour or an hour and a half long. The story isn't the same or anything, but just the grit and the determination and the journey that the main character has to go through really reminds me of that, because the main character there also is incredibly powerful woman. Yeah, I can just keep gushing because this is so good. I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm so happy that I'm picking it up finally. Ta-da! My hair's done. You can barely even see it. It's mostly just the ends that were blonde that even make a difference, and this is just kind of darker. It's not as amazing a transformation we were expecting, but not all of us can be gorgeous, okay? So it's fine. But anyway, we're not here to talk about my hair. We're not here to talk about my hair, we're here to talk about The Poppy War, which I have finished 2 days ago. So yeah, I finished The Poppy War on the 5th of April, so smashing it, only 3 books left, but anyway. I mean, this was so amazing, I loved this so much. I gave this 4 stars, 4.5 on my private one, Good Stars gave it 4. For me, the difference between 4 and a 5 is really just the feeling, and I told you this multiple times, so you probably know and you probably feel the same, but I feel like the second book and etc could just make it better and better and make it 5 stars. So it's not quite a 5-star prediction, but I'm counting it as a win. Poppy War, what did I like? Okay, I like that we finally have morally grey story. The character is morally grey. She does some really questionable choices, but we see where she's coming from. I feel like a lot of YA books I read claim to have those morally grey characters, but really they're not. I think what Rin is what Selena Serdoffian wants to be. She wants to be that bitch that just makes all the hard choices even if it's morally questionable. But what my problem with Selena was, she always just talks about how morally grey or whatever, how badass, how bad she is, how bad the bad things she does, but really at the end of the day she always makes the right choice, you know, the most noble choice, the most self-sacrificing choice, and she really, it's all about that. Rin and many other characters in this book, they are flawed, they're human, they make mistakes, and they're not this perfect noble hero, or at least they're not projecting that image. They don't know what the best course of action is. They're driven by revenge and vengeance, and that can get really dirty real quick. The best intentions can get stained by negative feelings and the hatred we put in our hearts, and the hatred and vengeance and revenge was such a big theme in this book. And is it actually okay for us to take the revenge? And it's just a really impactful story, and the way the violence is portrayed, it's really raw, and it's not glamorized, and it's not, oh, she's such a badass, she can kill anyone. Killing takes a toll on your soul. I feel like maybe I just need to read a little bit more of adult fantasy now. Maybe I'm ready because I love this so much, and I feel like it gave me all the things that recently when I've been reading YA fantasy I haven't been given, because morally grey characters, anti-heroes are just my jam. I love that so much. That's what I want to see, that's what I want to talk about, that's what I want to read about. I just love it when I don't know what the right choice is. It's highly recommended, but beware, there's a lot of graphic depictions of violence, sexual assault, and you just have to be aware of that going into it, because I wouldn't want you to be harmed by this. So be prepared. Even if it's not a trigger for you, it's still quite upsetting to read, so just be aware. Oh, another thing, I really, really love the world building. I thought it was executed very well, and I really understand the gods and how they communicate with the gods in the world. Okay, I'm gonna stop gushing now. I actually started the second book, Crown of Feathers. So I am about 20% into the books, and I've realized how big this book is. It's almost 500 pages. That's way too many pages. I don't know what it is lately, but every fantasy must be like 500 pages long, and I'm just like, chill out, okay? In this world, some people have the ability to communicate with animals, and the most revered kind of animal and connection you can make is phoenixes. So phoenixes can grow to be ridden, and they have this magical bonds with their riders. So phoenix riders were once the most revered and appreciated fighters and rulers, but since the war all of them were hunted down and killed, and now the phoenix riders and phoenixes are extinct. Our main character is one such person that can speak to animals, and her greatest wish is to become a phoenix rider. Let me tell you, the sister of the main character is just the most vile creature you ever meet. I hated her from the first page, and I hate her still, and I just hope she dies. I don't care. I don't want no redemption plot. I don't care. I want her dead, okay? It was really hard to get into for the first like 10%. For some reason I just kept reading and not even realizing what I'm reading. Then I fell asleep last night reading it. But then today I woke up in the morning and I was like, okay, let's do this. So far it's okay. They introduced 3 different POV characters. Probably unnecessary. And there's a lot of passages from past books, but just kind of sprinkled randomly. But I just feel like there must be a more organic way to learn about the world and to do some world building, because this is not very seamless or clever so far. It's just putting excerpts from old books, which, yeah, I guess that's one way to do it, but it's like before every chapter there's like 4 lines of something ominous, like kind of narration, that then you could think that's from like a book or a diary, but then at the end of the chapter there's a big chunk of that as well. Very lazy word building, I think. You can really put that into conversation. It's just exposition, really. Sometimes it works in some books. I feel like you can do that very well, but this one I just don't think it's really working. I don't know. So far it's fine. I'm enjoying it. I think the main character is sweet and I really like her. Her sister's... Welcome to the kind of random, but not really, because I had thought about it, thoughts section of this video. So when I was reading Poppy War, I just was thinking how cool it is that Ren is joining the military, and then there was a military commander, and how that was like okay and normal, and it just made me feel like, wow, how cool that women are like treated equally and it's not a big thing. And like 2 seconds later they were like, oh yeah, but there's only 3 women in the whole year, so they have the whole barracks to themselves because women can't actually get into the school. They just sometimes get lucky. Now I'm reading Crown of Feathers, and it's like the first riders of the Phoenixes were women, and then they just were all equal. Women and men both could ride phoenixes and both could be part of this amazing world. Finally, okay, now we're equal. We're not gonna be discussing the gender dynamics and how women have to stand up for themselves because they're not strong enough, because they are strong enough, but they have to prove it 50 times harder, blah, 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 blah. And now they don't even admit female phoenix riders to their ranks. Does every woman in every story has to fight for the right to exist? Like, even Poppy War, this world is run by a woman, an empress, and still, like, they have to fight. Times like this one sound to Shannon's words when I went to her signing comment, and it's like, you know, not every world has to be sexist. Not every fantasy society has to put down women. Some of them, it's okay if they're equal. Some of them, it's okay if it's a matriarchy. Let's spice it up a little bit. There's so many things that are different, but somehow women still have to be seen as less than men and have to prove themselves. And if they prove themselves because they're good warriors, there's like 1 in a million, you know. They're the special ones, they're the snowflakes. They're not like other girls, because other girls can get into military. I just find it really discouraging. And I know it's been a talk on booktube and just the wider community in general. It's like strong female character, and that they mostly just take on characteristics of men and they have to prove themselves in the men world. And I guess I never really thought about it too much. I just read them because I'm a follower. But lately I've just been thinking about it and it's really annoying me, and I just want to go to a fantasy world, a brand new one, enter the fantasy world, and the women are just purely human. They're human, they have human stories, and men have human stories, and all of them are just human and they're equal. I just want a story where it's not even a factor, you know? I just want somewhere that's actually not even discussed. Yeah, women are women, men are men, non-binary people are non-binary people, and they're all fine, and they're all doing great, and they all can do whatever they want. They all can be in the military, and it's just great. If you have any really cool stories like that where it's not really a thing, leave them in the comments. I would really love to know. It's like all kinds of representation, I guess. We want POC representation, and we don't want it to be a tokenism, and we don't want it to be just like a thing every single time. We just want them to exist and be cool and be good characters, bad characters, just humans. Same for queer characters. We just want them to exist. We just want them to be. We don't only need stories where these people fight for the right to exist. We need stories where they just exist. I think the fact that I'm watching Empress Key, where the main character has to pretend to be a guy, not to be enlisted, to be a concubine or like a slave, is just also bringing me down. I'm not saying that these stories about women or people of color or queer people overcoming obstacles aren't important. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying sometimes it's nice to just be, you know? I hope you get what I mean. I don't want to offend anyone. Hello, so I finished Crown of Feathers 2 days ago, so I just wanted to share some thoughts. Crown of Feathers, it had a really slow start. I did not think it was super interesting until the 40% mark. Up until then I kept being kind of disengaged, just reading but not really being into it, and I didn't think it was that amazing. And then once we passed that mark, it got way more interesting and I was way more involved with the characters and with the story. I think that the last 70%, like from 70% till the end, it was all like a big action sequence, which was just done so well because I kept being on the edge of my seat for the whole thing. I felt like a lot of, not anxiety, but when you feel the butterflies in your tummy and you're just like, oh my god, what's gonna happen, I'm so stressed for these characters. I meant only to read for like an hour and I ended up staying up till 2 a.m. I think like the first half needs a little bit of work because I should not be trudging through what, 200-300 pages of a book just to start being interesting. Like, it's a lot of time commitment for a whole load of nothing, you know. Another thing, I don't think that the multiple perspectives were necessary. I did not think they added. I think that there's a character called Tristan. His perspective seems like just an add-on. I feel like Veronica, the main character, is inquisitive enough and insightful enough that she could gauge these things about other characters without us needing to have their perspective. And then there was another perspective which just popped in once in a while, and it was so clearly less developed than Veronica's that I really didn't know if it was necessary for that character to have their own POV. All in all, this book wasn't very heavy in romance. 2 romantic acceptance, I would say, but they're not the biggest part of the book, and it's not like they fall in love instantly and they're a couple instantly. So it's mostly a story about Veronica and her journey rather than a love story, which was refreshing and I really liked, and I feel like I'm appreciating that I'm gonna have to work for this one and not just have the couple get together in the first half of the book. All in all, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I did really enjoy it. I thought that how much it made me care and really engage in the climax of the story was amazing. I really love it when the book makes it impossible for me to put it away. I really enjoy prolonged action sequences and that kind of stuff. So I think it really delivered. I'm happy with this. I was expecting to like be okay with it but not love the story, and I did really enjoy it, and I really want to read the sequel very soon. So all in all, big success. I now finished 2 books. I'm super excited because today I'm a part of a live show for Nicole from Nicole and Her Books. It's her 1-year anniversary and she so kindly invited me and a couple of other booktubers to her live show. So it's probably past by the time you're watching. I mean, it will be past by the time you're watching this. But I'm gonna link it in the description and I hope you enjoy it. And I'm just so excited to be a part of it. So I'm gonna get ready for that and read a bit more. Well, actually I have even started middle game already, and I'm on page 80, and I must say it was so hard to start reading this because I could not focus. It really requires to like sit down and focus, and I was in the living room with the loud ones. But this morning when I woke up, I started reading in bed. I could really focus, and it just flew by. And so far I'm really enjoying it. I think it's really engaging, and I'm really curious to see where it goes, and I hope it's gonna be one of those stories that really is gonna stick with me. Alright, I finished Middle Game by Seanan McGuire like 3 days ago, and I'm still kind of processing, so this is gonna be interesting. Alright, so if I had to describe Middle Game in a couple of words: amazing, mind-bending, confusing. Huh? That's the best I can do? Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming to a TED Talk. Bye bye guys, bye bye. Okay, no, but for real, this was such a weird experience, and I loved it. I loved every second of it. I loved reading it. I think this is such an amazingly crafted story. Seanan McGuire is a really good writer. She really knows how to get you in, and she's especially amazing at this like mind-bending, abstract kind of stories. So I read the Wayward Children series by her, and then the Into the Drowning Deep, which she writes under her pseudonym, which is Mira Grant. I must say, Wayward Children walked, so Middle Game could run. Do you get what I'm saying? Wayward Children series is about portal worlds and children who go into those worlds and then come back to our world and try to cope with that. And the worlds are so weird. And I feel like Seanan McGuire brought us Wayward Children so we get used to the weirdness and believe in the impossible, so that she could slap us with Middle Game and truly take it even weirder. Like I said, I love this. I think the writing is impeccable. I think the characters, especially the main characters, Roger and Dodger, are just amazing, so well crafted. I really understood them. There were so many frustrating situations in this, but I never thought, oh, this character is just stupid. I really understood where they're coming from, and I think seeing their progression from children to adults was just so great, and they never lost the essence of their characters. That being said, some of the other characters I thought were quite lacking. There's a character called Erin. I thought she was really well written. I understood her character, but the rest of the characters, they really were just episodes in the main character's life, so we never really got to see them develop very much because they were just blips that really never mattered that much. At least that's what I got from it. It was a decision made, I think, because we only have limited space, obviously, and Roger and Dodger are our main characters, so you have to focus on them a little bit more. And when you think about villains were really underdeveloped. I think they were just evil for sake of evil, evil because they were born evil, evil because they want to take over the world. I feel like there was a lot of space to really explore why they want to take over the world, what is their motivation, what is their ultimate drive. So I feel like that was a little bit of a lost opportunity there. And despite me loving this book, I'm not gonna pretend I really understood it. As in, like, I understand the gist of it and understood most of what is happening, but there's so much that I'm still like, what just happened? So like I said, this book is weird and it is confusing and everything is not explained. So if you want a neat ending, or if you prefer to be given explanations, maybe Middle Game isn't for you, because we are trying to understand the secrets of universe here, so there's no simple answer. I was okay with that. I'm really fine with stories that are kind of choose your own, and not even choose your own ending, but I'm cool with stories that don't give it all of it to you, so you can sit there and just think, what happened, what does this mean, just kind of figure out for yourself. I really like that, so I enjoy that part of the book. But still, there's a lot of threads that I really wish were explained and a little bit tied up more, because there were so many things that were just introduced or mentioned and then we never get any explanation for it, not even a vague explanation. They're just kind of dropped. So I wish it had a little bit of more of a tied thing there. I wish not so many things were unexplained. I'm cool with a certain amount of things unexplained, but when I feel like half of the things that were picked up were never mentioned or were never fully explained or never touched upon again, I was left wanting a little bit more after I finished. I still understand about as much as I did when I started the book, which is okay, but it did leave me hanging a little bit undersatisfied with the conclusion. The whole conclusion as well I found a little bit disappointing, a little bit anticlimactic, because the whole book from the first page we know it's building to something big, so well set up at the beginning that I had high expectations for the ending, and I feel like it was not completely delivered, at least for me. It was so good. I highly recommend it. I learned about this book from Rachel Marie from Rachel Marie's book journey. So thank you, Rachel, for introducing me to this book. I'm glad I bought it so I can actually read it anytime I want and I can have it on my shelves. And I love the cover of this so much. I mean, I love when the cover is related to what's inside the book, and this is very much related. And when you find out, you're like, okay, I get you. I highly recommend it if you're into the weird and kind of unexplained and you like having your mind bended a little bit. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's not quite a 5-star because I feel like I was left wanting a little bit more, but nevertheless amazing. I finished We Should All Be Feminists just now. It was a very quick read. It's only 50 pages and the font is enormous. I really enjoyed it. I thought it's a kind of adapted TED Talk from the author. It was interesting. I agree with pretty much everything said, but that being said, it didn't like revolutionize the way I think about feminism or gender, because it is pretty basic ideas. But then I guess if someone is newer to the concept, that's a really nice book to read. I don't really want to rate it because I don't have a problem rating non-fiction book, but this is like 50 pages and it's just a stream of consciousness almost, so I don't know, I just don't feel like I should rate it. But anyway, I have read all the books for Owls and I can move on to Newts when the time comes. A little bit of a recap. I read Poppy War, which I absolutely loved. I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I would highly recommend it. Really good fantasy. Then I read Crown of Feathers, which was a surprise. I also really enjoyed, especially the second half, and I gave it 4 stars. And then I read Middle Game, and boy oh boy did I love this book. It is so good, really mind-bending, weird and confusing, but really well written. I gave it 4.5 as well. And now I've just finished it up with We Should All Be Feminists, which I'm not gonna give a rating to. I mean, is this the most successful readathon video / me reading multiple books video? Because the 3 out of 4 were above 4 stars. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really hope you had a really good Owls as well. I just gotta ask Twitter to just choose my books more often, because this is something the Twitter chose and they're all amazing. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you had a good month, and I really hope you enjoyed this video as well. If you like the video, please consider giving it a like, maybe subscribing and leaving a comment telling me what you read for Owls. But that's it from me. Really thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!